Good morning and welcome back. Today is the 16th of July 2026 and I'm going to go through my pre-market prep. Firstly, just to let you know, it's a sad day today. Unfortunately, England couldn't make it through to the World Cup final, so we're going to have to wait 64 years now for that World Cup final. It's been some time. So the next game is a game that nobody wants to watch, and that is the 3rd and 4th place playoff on Saturday. I'll probably watch it, but it won't be the same. Anyway, sad evening last night. But anyway, let's change it around on a good day today trading. Good morning, Mayo. Welcome back, and good morning to everyone else. Before we start, let's look to see what news could move the market. And I can see one bit of orange on this news. So 8:30 we had medium volatility, core retail sales, unemployment, manufacturing index. We have low volatility for the rest of the day. We do have some Fed speakers as well. Nothing really too exciting. Keep an eye on natural gas if you trade natural gas at 10:30. Trump speaks tonight at 9, and FOMC members from 12:30 onwards. So not really much to look at. So let's have a look at the market right now. The one thing that stands clear is this break of this 5-minute. Is it breaking? Let's have a look. Where's my line? Let's just read. I'm not sure why I can't get my line tool working. 1 second. I'll reset that. I'm just put my trading view on actually. I'm watching for a potential long on the open, just to make that wary. The reason for that is I was just looking at the order flow. Let me just go back and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Down here we had 3 delta flips. Let's get rid of that. Early warning signs, lack of sellers coming in, and we had this inverse head and shoulder pattern. We broke it here. I was tempted to go long in the pre-market, especially when I saw all these buying imbalances, but I chose not to. I'm waiting for the open. I want to see which way the market's going. We're kind of going against the trend at the moment, but I'll come into that in a second. Let's do some levels for today. Starting off with the weekly. We're getting near to the end of the week now. And look at the volume at the moment. We've got 2 days left and we're nowhere near. We've got pretty much half of last week's volume already. Inside of last week's, right on that confidence area, that 7600 is a key area. So we're kind of sitting there on lowering volume. You can see clearly here the volume decreasing as price is increasing. So it's a sign of weakness on the weekly market. We've got that head and shoulders pattern. I'm not going to get too much into that. Dropping down to the daily, see how we got on yesterday. Yesterday, again, we couldn't break out. We literally held that area there. Put in a bit of a bottom tail, put in a bit of a topping tail. We're sitting right on that confidence area, that volume shelf as well. And look where we bounced today, exactly where we are right now. Volume wise, slightly higher volume, still way below average on a green day with no real follow through. RSI is midway. There's nothing really exciting about this at the moment. We are sitting inside this very narrow range. Are we going to break out to the downside? Are we going to break out to the upside? We don't know. We can only trade what we see, and we can use higher time frames to get a general idea of what the market's doing. And the buyers are coming in, but there's decreasing volume. There's no volume. It just feels like it's waiting for something to happen. Maybe it's waiting for earnings. Dropping down to the hourly time frame now. Let's get some levels for today. We are sitting inside this really nasty hourly range. Really tough trade at the moment. Look at yesterday. What it sold off, then it came back up again, and we're right back inside that range from yesterday. So we're smack bang inside yesterday's range. So for me, I'm treating today as a scalping day again. You're probably getting sick and tired of me saying it's a scalping day. It's been a scalping day for some time now. So we're inside yesterday's range. I'm just going to play very carefully. I like the long into 7600 on the open, purely because of that break of 5-minute trend. That 7600 is a big psychological number. Volume shelf, area confluence, rejection, rejection, rejection. Then we bounce, 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 bounce. Then we broke out, came back, bounced, lost it, came back, bounced again, and we haven't retested it on the underside yet. In fact, we probably have just retested it in that last 1 hour candle. So for me, I'm watching this zone. We are now closing below the 50 moving average on this hourly. What is the moving averages like on the daily? I forgot to check. We're still holding, we're still trailing that 50, so we're not really in a downtrend unless we break that 50 and close below it. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. We're holding above it, so I'm remaining neutral in the market, because that's the only way I think at the moment I can play it. And so I'm just looking for opportunities which with A+ setups only. So for me, looking at levels today, we've got yesterday's high 76.20 all the way up this entire zone, basically 76.20. I'm watching that area for a potential rejection, looking for weakness from buyers, strength from sellers when we come in. So what I'm looking for as we're pushing into that zone, I'm looking for volume to start decreasing in volume. And then I'm looking for order flow, looking for potential break, rejection in that area. If we can get a head and shoulders pattern in, that would be great. Or a double top, slightly lower high there. But I'll be watching that area today for rejection. We can use yesterday's high and pre-market high as a zone. That's not a bad zone to have. And smack bang in the middle is at 76.20. So that's a rejection zone. If we break out for that area, come back down and retest it, and we see volume declining as we're coming into the retest, then I'm looking for a breakout long. So look for a break and retest long over pre-market high, yesterday's high. The same for pre-market low and yesterday's low. We can use that as a zone for a bounce. I've drawn a new trend line. Let me just zoom out a bit. So on this hourly, we've got this trend line in place. We're holding it at the moment. We bounced here. We bounced 1, 2, 3 times here. Bounced once and twice there a few days ago. We've yet to come back to retest it. If we do retest it, we have this massive big volume shelf. Again, it's a zone, not a line. Let's just draw that volume shelf in. And lo and behold, it is our favorite number again. That's 75, 55 area. So I'm watching for a bounce in that zone. A confirmation will be a bounce off that trend line, a bounce off this point of control, a bounce off of this volume shelf as well, and a bounce of this confidence area. And a number we've been watching for some time. Seems to be coming back. You know, history. I like to think history repeats itself. So I'm watching this area for a bounce today as well. And that is pretty much it. If we do lose pre-market low, yes, look for a break and retest back down into that zone for the short. We do have a newer volume shelf based on the most recent days. So just keep an eye on that 75. Yeah, I'm watching this entire zone, to be honest. That's the entire zone I'm watching. So 75, 70, all the way up to 75, 80, potentially 90. And we're back over that 76 area then. So look for longs over 76 today if I can find a breakout when the market opens. If an ORB sets up, I do like the ORB over 76. I won't go long into 76. I like the short below pre-market low. Might be able to scrap out a bit of a move down into yesterday's low. I think that is pretty much all I'm watching. That's the zone to watch today. This is the zone to watch today. I'll be back in a second. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. I'll do it for you. Sorry about that, I had a postman. Okay, so they're the two zones I'm watching. I'm not watching anything else today, so let's just keep an eye on what happens. We are smack bang inside the range there. We're smack bang inside the daily range, yesterday's range, smack bang inside a weekly range. We're smack bang inside a monthly range as well, so it's pretty tough at the moment. Really hard trading conditions. What was my trade like yesterday? Yesterday I had a lucky winning trade where I got in long and I don't know what happened to the platform, but it was out and I just come out of it and I managed to make some money out of it. I did do one of my trades on my 250k challenge. That was a Cumulative Delta Divergence, and it happened to be right at the low of yesterday. I did it on NQ actually. Let me open up the NQ chart because there's something I want to show you. I'm going to the 5 minute. I was talking about volume earlier, and I'll show you exactly what I'm looking for when I'm seeing on a break and retest. Look at this for a beautiful break and retest on NQ of the ORB low area, but look at the volume, declining volume as price is increasing into that. So this is an absolute perfect ORB play. I wasn't watching it, I missed it yesterday. I had my ES charts open. I've now set an NQ chart open as well. But what I did do yesterday, I did a lovely bounce. I wasn't really watching the market. I came back in a bit later. But anyway, this is what we're looking for here. Declining volume as price. When I say look for weakness, that is showing exact weakness. And then look at the next candles. Increasing volume. If that wasn't a surefire entry, I don't know. Increasing volume as price pulled down. We had a smaller green candle where we held it forever. And then look at this. Increasing volume as price sold off again. And then we had low volume. Hardly any volume. Nowhere near the previous one. So this is just sitting there resting for a bit. Coming into the lunch hour. And then here we go. And look at this. We had a little bit of increase in volume on the buyers. On the sellers aren't coming in. That might be the first sign. And then the market just sold off. Increase in volume again. And then we got to hit a bottom. I missed all of that run down, but what I didn't miss was this bounce here. Cumulative Delta was showing aggressive buying coming in from about here as we were still selling off. ES had a massive delta, so ES was kind of showing buyers coming into the market from about there. So I happened to have the NQ chart open, and it's also at a trend line. Let me zoom out again. Hence why I liked it for the long. That's why I took NQ yesterday on the 250k account right off that trend line. I went long. My stop was there. It would have been a rather large, I think it was about $1,000 stop entry. And then we had this big spike up and it came right back down again. And obviously I had all my drawdown pull back down with it. And I got a bit nervous, so I got out at the top of this candle. And then it sold off, oh, that's a good out. And then it just did that for the rest of the day. But there's a lesson to be learned there. So I got out about 1.5, 1.3R. The lesson was, you know, the reason I got my 250k account is because I want to start holding it longer. I was going for 2R. 2R was basically there. And it would have easily at 2R, 3R, 4R, 5R, 6R, 7R. I could have easily got the 5R, whatever. And look at that. There was only one red candle in that entire pullback. So, and that's on reduced volume as well. Look at the volume. So even if I saw that, I wouldn't have got out. But I just need to hone in on my holding ability. I used to be really good at this. Go back a couple of years before I started scalping, I would be holding all day. I probably would have got out as it broke that trend line up here, and it would have been a great trade. But ever since I started scalping this year, I kind of lost that ability, and I need to rehone that. So that's why on my screen, hang on, let's go back. I've put in my 250k challenge in this one, my scalping at both, so I'm going to try and do both. And so I've got my order buttons, my ORB buttons ready. Look at this for a breakout. Could I have found an entry? That's our trend line there, maybe on that one there. It wasn't really a big break and retest, but I'm waiting for the open. So anyway, that was yesterday's 250k. So I made about 1.3k, I think it was yesterday, on that 250k account. I'm disappointed. I kicked myself when I looked back and saw it went on. I could have easily hit my target 3R. You know, these data divergence plays are just brilliant. They worked a couple of times. If you went back in the pre-market yesterday, I think it was here, here, and here. We had data divergences. So it does work. So keep an eye on that. I'll be talking about it a bit later today on the live. So going back to the hourly then, let's get some levels at NQ then, and I'll go through SPY next. So I like the bounce where we are right now. It's yesterday's low. It's right on that trend line. Look at this trend line as well. Remember I said if we're below the midpoint, this is that midpoint of the trend line. We've been hovering around that area. Big volume shelf. Are we showing signs of weakness right now? 30,000 above, that's a psychological number. 29,500 is right here, kind of just above where we are right now. So for me, I'm looking for a break and retest of 29,300 short below pre-market low, yesterday's low today. And that will be breaking this trend line. Hopefully we can do better than we did there. Otherwise, I'm going to keep an eye on this volume shelf. Big area confluence. 29,700 is another area to watch for potential rejection. We'll be holding that trend line of reject there as well. So that's the only two rejections. We could also watch this area for a bounce as well over 29,500. So a dual entry area there. SPY, I didn't go into that, I went straight to NQ after ES. We're holding that zone. For me, If we lose pre-market low, maybe look for a short into 750. 750 is a confluence area. In fact, that entire zone is. Bottom tail there last time. We kept, see what happens when we get back into that 750. Watch it for a bounce. If we break this hourly uptrend, downtrend, I mean, look for a break and retest long, maybe ORB into pre-market high. Again, we're smack bang inside yesterday's range, makes it tough. SPX is going to be opening up around 75.40 area, I'd imagine. So keep an eye on a, there's nothing really there. 7,500 below, 7,600, that's it really. Just keep an eye on that. Don't go long into 7,600, don't go short into 7,500. Let's look for some sort of confirmation from this before we take anything. But I do like the long at a couple of days low. It was at 7,510 to 7,500. Otherwise, let's look for a break and retest of yesterday's high around 75.60. We're done NQ. Let's go straight down into QQQ now. QQQ is in this confluence area for me. If we can break yesterday's low, pre-market low, I like it short into 700. Notice that's where we bounced. I had a big reaction to that. We are holding that downtrend as well. I'm not a big fan of anything else. Maybe a rejection of a pre-market's high. Notice the volume shelf, big area confluence marked up by that volumes point of control. 715 rejection. Anything over 1715 we can look for longs. Oil next. It's the only one which has got a decent green day. What was that, 1%? Oil's looking good for a long. Look at this. I like this very much for a long. We're putting in this bull flag. Push up, break and retest of this zone, inverse head and shoulders pattern. Then we break up, come back down, we're tightening. So for me, the only play I like, and I do like seeing it holding this upper half as well, this zone here. I like the long over pre-market high, yesterday's high. And we are tightening a little bit. We've got that flag. So anything over 80, 81, break and retest long. So that's the play to watch today. I'm going to mark that up. That level there. I've got 81, 80.94. I'm going to put in an alert around there as well. So keep an eye on oil. That looks good for a long today. If, however, we do lose this zone, we lose pre-market low, we can watch for a break and retest of 79 back down, and then we've got 76.92, 77 as a marker for something. I think it's a confidence area and a volume shelf below. Gold next. Still looking pretty weak. We're back down at 4,000. Look at this. I'm going to probably look to add in my long term down here now. 4,000. Are we going to bounce? Are we going to lose that area? For me, it's got to be watching for a long. We've got a big zone to watch. We're right on this volume shelf. The zone is all the way down to 39.80. So 3,980 for a bounce. Oh, it happens to be where pre-market low is. So keep an eye on that zone. That's where pre-market low is. However, it is in a downtrend. So if we are going to bounce, we probably want to see it come back down, put in some sort of inverse head and shoulders pattern. We maybe want to see it break this little trend line we've got going on here. I'm going to draw it properly. Maybe that trend line here. So maybe if it gets over pre-market high, look for a long 40.40. We can also look for that area for a break and retest short as well. That's yesterday's low. So it's a tough one. It's right in a place I want to add some long term to, which I'm going to do shortly. But it is not looking good for longs unless we break that trend line. Look at that, in a big downtrend. So basically, if we break below pre-market low, look for a day trade short. If we can get above, maybe above pre-market high, we might be able to just get a long back into that 40.80. But we really need to be clearing yesterday's high to be breaking out over this trend line. This could be just a bit of liquidity sweep. The big institutional or the smart money just coming back down to pick up the last few people who got in up here and they're just stopping out now, sweeping it out, and then you might see it just break out and go. RTY next, holding that trend line still. So for me, I like it short under pre-market low, yesterday low, a break and retest of those two levels. and that is around 29.80. No, sorry, 29.75, 29.70. If we can break over 3,000, I like it long. We couldn't yesterday, we rejected it. So only like it long over 3,000. Do I like it long into 3,000? Maybe if we can find a trade, but I'm not a big fan of that. YM, we kind of hold in this area here. So for me, I like it long over pre-market high, yesterday's high, to start retesting this area. Confidence, a little volume shelf to the left as well, and that will take us over into 53.100 to 200. That's an area we watch for a target. So pre-market high, break and retest. If we lose pre-market low, I like it for a break and retest back down into that 52.60. Massive area of confidence. You can see all that confidence there. All that confidence there. Lots of bottom tails and the big volume shelf and the point of control. And then finally, Bitcoin up to $64,000. This is that inverse head and shoulders. We've broken it. We are now retesting the neckline right now. So for me, I like this long if we can get over pre-market high, and that'll be just breaking that little downtrend. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, if we break pre-market low, look for a break and retest short, a break and retest back into 64,000 short. And we could also watch this area for a potential bounce if we get over this confidence area around 64,400. And that is pretty much it. And we still have 7 minutes before the market opens. I think that's everything. Move my chart over there. Let's put my order buttons, my ORB buttons on. See, I like that for a long earlier. I still like it for a long, but I'll see what happens when the market opens. Large orders, 76.04 above. You can see it already marked up. 76.28, 39.44. And then below we got 75.82, 75.70. And then nothing for a while. Happens to be pre-market low, yesterday low. So we know we've got orders sitting at pre-market low, yesterday's low. So somebody's expecting a bounce in those areas based on this pre-market orders. These are only orders 100 and above. You know, the big ones go darker red. So just to confirm, what did I just do? I just clicked on a buy market. Let's get out of that. Mistake. I went to hit that F button. So initially, I just made a loss. I don't know what I did, or break even was it? $50 loss I made on that. I wasn't even intentional. I went to hit the F button, hit the buy market instead. So anyway, that's not a big problem. Put my strategies back in again because that's what I did. Right. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was just zooming out. See where we've broken that 5-minute trend. I like to see it pull back to 75.88 and maybe watch for a bounce, putting in a lower high. We have got a bit of an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, maybe. And that's our neckline. So maybe a break and retest at 75.88. That is a big volume shelf as well. You can see that on that chart. Big area of confidence. So I like the long if we pull back. Remember, I only go long green candles, short on red candles. I won't take a long if it's a red candle. I want to see it go from red to green. Good morning, Craig. Hope you're well. Right. Cumulative Delta. There's a bit of a divergence right here. Look at this. Price is putting in higher highs, higher lows, just about here. You can see the Delta divergence here. And then Delta was selling off, price was not. And then price kind of went sideways when buyers came in. So for me, that means buyers absorbing some sellers here. and then there's a lack of interest from both buyers and sellers. We could probably look at volume. It's pretty neutral. Where does that start from? 9:15. Market opens in 3 minutes. I've lost my I got a clock on my screen called DS clock. Let me just put that back in. I use that. Oh, it looks like their website is. Looks like they stopped running it. That DS clock. Okay. That's probably why it's not running, because DS, I use something called DS clock, dualitysoft.com. But their website's down, so maybe that's the reason they're not even aware. Okay, well, when that's back, I'll put it back on. It just gave me different time zones, UK, US, and I will watch the time, seconds counting up. Okay, market's open in 1 minute. Let's get ready. Make sure you've got your plan in place. Remember, no trading without a plan. Hence why I do a pre-market prep. So that it's called a pre-market prep for a reason, because then I'm prepped, ready for the open. I'm not just guessing, making things up. I know what I'm looking for before the market's even opened. And I recommend writing down your levels. I write down my levels every day. I put them on the Discord in my watch list. I have that open on my other monitor. I recommend doing that, whether you do it in your journal software or whether you do it on a bit of paper. Just have it in front of you, so you're not second guessing yourself when it comes to it. So looking at this, we've got buyers coming in, lack of sellers, buyers coming in. A few sellers came in then, buyers are holding. Market's now open. Big push up on the open. Sellers are coming in. There's a topping tail on the Delta. So I do like it long, but it's telling me I've got a gap of about 9 seconds. 8.7 is catching up now. So we're now back to live. So there's a lot of movement here. So massive aggressive sellers coming in. Look at that big topping tail on the Delta. Big aggressive seller on the 2-minute chart. Big volume as well. You can see that. And we're at 7,600 now. So I do like the longs over 76. That's kind of what I was watching for. Look at this, decrease in selling as we're selling off, which is a good sign if you're looking for a long. So any long over 76 I quite like. We do have a massive big selling delta. So all these buyers absorbing all this selling pressure at the moment. So I'm going to look for a long. Anyway, as soon as we get confirmation that we're closing over 76. Maybe wait for the 2-minute to close as well. Here we go. I'm going to look for a long. I want to see some more buyers come in. I really want to see this delta turn into a green delta. So that's our 2 minute in. We're over 76. I like the long still. We are coming into VWAP, so I'm going to hold off. VWAP on ES. Remember, A plus setups only. That's what we're looking for. And luckily I just saw that. 76.05 is VWAP. No trades yet. Look at this aggressive selling coming in. That's the reason I didn't like going long. Also, I saw the VWAP on my trading view chart as well. So again, there's no longs. I only want to go long on confirmations. I don't want to just take it because I like the idea. I'll take it because I want to see aggressive buyers coming in, and there was no aggressive buyers. Big topping tail. That's what put me off the long, and that's why we use order flow. Big 5 minute topping tail candle. We could be looking at another breaker trend here, and it would be going with the trend. So potentially under that red candle, under 75.94, could be a short if we get strength from sellers. We see sellers coming in now. So my bias is flipping now. We're back below 76. Big aggressive selling candle, minus 486 aggressive sellers. Positive delta on a red candle. We're breaking the 2 minute uptrend. Delta's price is now following delta. So I'm going to look for a short now. I've flipped my bias because we're back below 76. Only if we have selling pressure. I want to see a bit of a pullback from buyers with no follow through, and then I want to see sellers coming in. Buyers kind of come in then. Do you see that on that last candle? Here we go. You can see it positive 380, 400. So we've got lots of aggressive buyers coming in here. We've taken out that pivot. Sellers are definitely selling here because you can see the sellers driving it back down. Depends who's in control. At the moment, buyers are in control of this bar, but they haven't been in control of any of the other bars. I did like this actually here. 200, 120, 92, plus 16. So look, notice a decline in delta. So maybe we could have found a short there. So we've broken the 5 minute, broken the 2 minute. I'm now looking for a green candle. I'm not going to get in on it. I'm not going to chase it. It's just going to sell, isn't it? Nasdaq's looking a little bit stronger than it was yesterday. Here you go, only 63 aggressive sellers coming in here. Let's just see what happens here. Big positive delta. Bottom of the 5 minute. Here we go. Now that's changed. I'm looking for a short. Oh, I'm going short now, kind of just here, below that green. Let's see it drive down. So lack of buyers. That's the only reason I like the short. Lack of buyers on that pullback. Are we going to hit my 10 ticks? Red candle. Aggressive buyers coming in, but with no follow through. Come on, let's see. Look at this selling delta. Buyers are definitely holding this area. Maybe I should think about getting out if we're not going to have the follow through I wanted. Lack of follow through. Here we go. My first tick is out. My first 10 ticks. Aggressive sellers came in. We're back down below. What's the Nasdaq doing? Nasdaq's about to get into, is that yesterday's low area? I've hit my safety. I've got like a 10 tick safety. Just minimizes my loss. So we've definitely broken trend. And my target's going to be pre-market low if we can break this 20 tick. But it doesn't look good. Hold in this area. Might just go sideways for a bit. Let's see whether seller's going to sell. Big aggressive selling on the open. So it's pretty neutral around here. We've got a buy in Delta now, Delta flip. I'm going to come out. I'm not a big fan of this. But big positive Deltas. I'm out. There you go. Would have stopped me out. There you go. So I got out early. So I got out for about 10 ticks and just under 10 ticks. A small loss. I don't know what that translates to. The idea is good. Could have done with that green being a bit further up here. I was waiting for it. Maybe I was chasing a bit down here. But I still like it short. But I want to see better confirmation. We just didn't have the follow through. We had no follow through. It looked good, just held it, and then the buyers came in. Buyers came in. I've got very small stops on these scalps, so you know I don't have much space. So you need to get it right first time. Okay, small delta here on a green and negative delta. I know what I was about to say. I like it short again, but I'm going to hold off for a bit. If I held, I would have been in profit now. There you go. That's what happens. In fact, it would have hit my stop anyway, so it doesn't matter. So 2 minute trends break, little GBI on 2 minute. The reason I wait for a green pullback is I don't want to be chasing. I could have got in, you know, I could have got in anywhere near there. The best entry was this break and retest on this decline in volume. I was a bit slow in, literally on the open. I should have taken, I hesitated. And then I got in on the next pullback. Look at that. One, it would have worked. What's the other sectors doing right now? We've got Russell 2000 looking strong, Bitcoin looking strongish, both with top end tails. Indecision from Dow Jones, SPX is selling off. Crude oil, indecision, and gold is broken below 4,000. So here we go. I like this for a short again now. Lack of buyers, not many buyers here as well. Delta's looking aggressive, so I'm going to find a short now. Okay, I'm short as we break that green candle. It was red at the time. Here we go. The lack of buyers on the ask. Are we going to get this one? A little bit of follow through. We've got aggressive selling Delta as well. And that's it. I'm done again. Just hit my 10 tick. Still looks good for a sell. Massive negative Delta on this candle as well. Big buy came in there. Did you see that? So I'm around about my 10 ticks there, and I'm out of 20 ticks. Okay, done for that. That's my 2 trades on my scalp done. Didn't quite work how I wanted, but that's how it is. You know it's going to sell off all day. Look at this. Look where my outs were. Top of that pivot. We sold off there. Look at that out. Top of this pivot. Not as bad as a couple of days ago. I hit my 10, my 20 tick stop, and then it just sold off afterwards. Kind of left me behind. Selling looks good. Look at this aggressive sellers coming in. We're definitely holding this downtrend. So we are now into 2 of the orb candles. This is the final candle, setting up the orb for the day. How annoying is that? Look at that. That's my original entry there, short. And you're saying, how the hell can you be stopped out twice in a short, and when it's all it's done is gone short? Yeah, it's frustrating, but it is how it is. Pre-market low now. It's just that reaction on pre-market low. Look at this delta. That's why I like the short under 76, because of the delta. It's just dying. NQ's selling off. NQ's now looking weaker. It's already broken pre-market low and yesterday's low. We haven't broken yesterday's low yet. Starting to get hot in here again now. It's 28 degrees Celsius in my office right now. That's why I've been having shorter days trading as well, purely because it's just getting hot. The sun moves around to the west. Got a big window next to me. It gets pretty hot. Hasn't quite hit line of sight yet. So how are we doing for time? The orb is coming in shortly. There we go, still putting in this downtrend. So my idea was spot on. My execution wasn't today, unfortunately. Look at that. That's my break. That's my original entry there. Just got whipped out. Okay, so the ORB is now in. I like the ORB a lot because it's at pre-market low. So the ORB below 75.80 will be a good short. ORB high is 76.04. That ticks the above 7600. The midpoint is 75.92. So we've got two good potential plays here for the orb. If we find a short, how does that look on? We've got at least 10 points down to yesterday's low. So we might be able to get a short in. We've got a long over 76. Yesterday's high in pre-market, not until we've got at least 10 points to them as well, 10, 15. So we've got some space. Look at this trend holding the lower high, lower high, lower high. So what we're looking for in the ORB today, we want to see an ORB candle open below the midpoint, close below the opening range low and pre-market low. That takes out two key levels. And then we want to see increased volume. So at the moment, we've got to have a lot of volume for it to be increased. We want to see increased volume on the previous candle. Previous candles would be ideal. So maybe have a bit of a resting bar here for 10, 15 minutes. Where we just go sideways for a bit. And then we can watch for the orb breakdown. If we miss the orb, we can look for the break and retest short. So there's a couple of areas we can watch. I'm waiting. I'm having some lunch. My lunch today is, I've already had some lunch actually. This is my snack. Unsalted KP nuts. These are great, by the way. There's no salt in them. No palm oil. Anything like that. Might be sunflower oil possibly. They're not ideal. Get the protein, good for the brain. Good morning, Sonny. Nasdaq's breaking the orb right now, and ES is. I'll be back in a second. I've got a phone call. Back again. So pre-market highs holding. I just saw a message. Andrew, ES finally losing pre-market low. It's kind of holding there now. Look at that aggressive selling. All that aggressive selling coming in. Negative delta on the low. Small positive delta. A bigger positive delta. The only thing I don't like is that bigger positive delta. But it's good because we haven't got a break in ORB candle. We don't want that yet. We want to see a little bit of rest. Price is breaking out. Delta isn't though. So it doesn't look too good for longs at the moment. Unless of course you went long down here at the bottom, then it's looking good for you. But there was no signal to get in. Massive negative deltas coming into the low. Big volume as well. But no sign that buyers were going to take control. You know, there was a lack of buyers in that previous candle, and then it all turned up. Big candle there. Look at that, 5,000. That's probably ending volume. 5,228 contracts just in that 110 range candle. Positive delta on a red candle. Potentially this is a bounce area. Pre-market low. I need to go back to my 75.55 was an area I was watching for a long today, and then 76.20 I'm looking for a long, and then pre-market low yesterday's low area looking for a short, so I'm looking for ORB short in this area. And what did I put it down? 76.20 at the time. No, it's not. 75.70 I meant. Exactly at 280. This is the area I was waiting for the short, and then the long if we break over 76, which sets up perfectly. So look at this, price is breaking out, delta isn't, so it's showing lack of buyers at the moment. You kind of want to see delta and price bars look similar, big aggressive buyers and big aggressive selling, big aggressive buyers and big aggressive delta candles coming in at the same time. but there's not. Lots of buying imbalances on this last candle. Look at this, buyers coming in here though. Here we go. Now we're starting to see a big solid delta candle. Here we go. We had a slight delta here. We had a topping tail candle. Buyers came in as delta was selling off. What time was that? 9:48. Here we go, just here as we were selling off there. That's our first sign. Here you go. So when you get all this buying imbalances and then we don't have any follow through, then that's not a good sign. You know, if there's buyers taking control of the sellers, you expect there to be some bigger follow through. It could happen. It doesn't look that great at the moment. And then we're starting to sell off. I've tried to improve the lag, by the way. Which one got it to ultra low. Be interested to see how quick it is. I can just do a quick test. Let me just open up the link. And what I'm going to do, I'll get rid of the bar at the bottom. And what I'm going to do, I'll get rid of the bar at the bottom. Mute that. Ready? I'm going to count in my head. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Oh, 3 seconds. I wasn't live, and make that live. Let's do it again. Put the bar back again. 1 and 2 and 2 seconds. That's not bad lag. Okay, let me know if you're happy with that. That's not bad. So we've got it down to a 2 second lag. Andrew says, yeah, tough price action today. Trap action, hard to short into previous day low. I agree. And can't trust a long until over 76. I agree with all of that. Which is why I'm just sitting back. I'd rather count the lag than play the market right now. Sonny says got about 3 seconds. Hey, that's not too bad. What was it yesterday? Day before it was 10 seconds, wasn't it? So that's a lot better. I think that's as good as we're going to get, considering it's streaming from the UK to US servers back to the UK. 7. Okay, so I've halved the lag, which is good at least. Big topping tail candle. Remember I said I wasn't a big fan of buyers up here? Now you know. Look at that. Again, we know this because we're looking at order flow. We're not just guessing. Somebody would have gone long up here thinking that's a big solid green candle on the break of that 5 minute sell off. And now they're like, damn, I'm long and they're holding. Again, that's why we use order flow, because we can see all this happening way in advance. Sellers coming in, and we can see the delta as well. So this is what I wanted to see. It's a big candle though. I don't want to see it break the orb yet. I want to see some like reduced volume candles. Here you go. Only 277 negative delta, and then only a positive delta. 2 on that green candle. Doesn't still look convincing for a long. Lots of volume in that candle though. Just sit back and watch the market do its thing. We've seen this literally every day for a few weeks. Sit inside the range, and then after midday it breaks out. I've kind of missed all the breakouts because I stopped trading after about an hour and a half. yesterday was a good day because I came back about midday. I had some programming to do, and I was updating my new mental toughness playbook, and I saw a massive divergence on ES, and I saw a smaller divergence on NQ, and probably should have gone with ES, but because I had NQ chart open, I went long on NQ literally at the low of yesterday on the break of that 5-minute candle long. So I didn't go long until it broke the candle. Stop was at the low of that candle. I got out for about 1.5R. That was one contract of NQ I had, and it went on to about 5, 6, 7R in the end. So I need to get better on holding. I just saw the first little bit of a top in town, panicked and got out after holding through a top in tail, and it didn't sell off, so I should have held on to it. So I journaled it, made a note of it. I put it in the Discord as well, which everyone's got access to the challenge. I put a note in there saying the challenge 250k account, which is looks like this. So I've got all my rules in there as well, and you may want to have a look and just have a look yourself, because these are good rules if you're not doing a challenge to stick by. There you go, maximum 3 trades a day. I've taken 2 already on my scalping, so I could potentially have 1 trade on that if I wanted to, but I'm done, I think, on that. I can do 3 trades on my 250k account as per my rule. That's why I put rules in place. Everybody should have a trade manual, what do you call it? Your own trade book, basically, your own playbook with all your rules and everything. So A+ setups only, maximum 3 trades. My target, $1,000. I did hit $1,000 on NQ. This is based on ES, by the way. Never revenge trade or overtrade. Never increase size after a loss, and stop after daily target. And then my contract size, start on 2 ES. I had 1 NQ, made it a bit more harder for me. And then scale once I hit these values. My loss limits up to 750 to 500. That's kind of what I'm kind of watching. That area. And then that gives me a plenty of, you know, with these A+ setups, you would never hit your trade and drawdown in theory. That's why I'm still, and my trade management, 1 contract, take profit 2R. Like I said, I got profit yesterday at 1.5R and bottled it. I should have carried on. My second contract should have been 4 to 5R, and I would have hit that as well yesterday. So, and my A+ setups, ORB, I can see we're just pushing up. We're not coming into any significant yet. ORB breakout, ORB retest, opening drive. That's kind of what I do on the open. Looking for, and that's my momentum one I do on my top step. Consolidation breakout, looking for low volume, and then like we were talking about earlier, I want to see it just go sideways for a bit on low volume, and then a breakout. And then Delta Divergence, that's the one I did yesterday, and that was a great entry. So we had a little bit of a bounce here. Not a big fan of that. Topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, bottom tail, bottom tail. We're right at the orb midpoint. Buyers are coming in. Price is just about breaking out. A little bit of divergence there, not a great deal, but they're kind of in line with each other. Price is putting in highs, Delta's putting in highs. Small negative Delta, small positive, bigger negative, smaller positive, slightly bigger positive. You know, it's not looking amazing, I will be honest. Small positive Delta there. Oh look, my update is there. Selling imbalance failure. There we go. I said I updated my code, so it's got a fail, so it didn't actually have follow through. That's a Delta. So selling Delta flip. That's what I'm trying to think. It failed. I forgot to put that in. It's a new label. I did think I've not actually released it yet. I think it's just experimented from yesterday. Then positive Deltas coming in now. Got some buyers coming in as well. Again, we're coming into the VWAP now, so it's a tough long to take. We need to get over 76. So I'm looking for a long over 76. Ideally, if it can clear opening range high. ES is looking a bit stronger than NASDAQ right now. NASDAQ's come into the midpoint. So a massive big jump then. But then we could look at this, say this is decline in volume on increase in price. Craig says, have a good day, no trades for him. Good for you, well done. Trading plan, that's the word I was looking for, Ron, thank you. Yep. Too hot in here, it's just gone up another half a degree. My brain is at melting point. That's it. Everyone must have a trading plan. You know, whether you've got it written down on the back of an envelope, not ideal, but you can. I've got a dedicated document I create, Google Documents. I've also written it down in Discord, and I talk about it out loud every day as well. So strict rules. And it don't have to be really complicated as long as you've got something I just showed you. Like I just showed you here, just a few rules, and have that open in front of you. I've got it sitting on a post-it note, which is everybody's operating system's got one. Here you go, my post-it note. Everything I need to know in there. So it's always in front of me, and that's sitting on my top right monitor, right in front of me, literally in front of my eyes. So no trades on my 250k account, and 2 losing trades on my scalping account. Look at this, 50 moving average and the VWAP and 7600 all in this area. Small aggressive doubt on a red candle. Buyers and sellers at the top of it. So buyers are trying to absorb, sellers are trying to absorb this buying pressure up here. Delta's looking green. We've got a level just taken out, 7600 directly above now. No big orders sitting at 76. We might see some absorption. Keep an eye on the timing sales. Just here where my mouse is. If you see 76 coming like it's going to be seen now, and we're getting more than 29 contracts sold, which we are, I can see that, then you know there's somebody up here absorbing 7600. So this is what's on the book, what the limit orders sitting on the book. This is what's really going through the market. So this is what I keep an eye on as well. Key levels. If you just see 76 come up, then you know there's a big seller selling at 76, probably selling 50 at a time or something, so it keeps them under the radar. Unless you're watching time and sales, then it's not under the radar. Here we go, coming back up into 76 again. And if you look on here, we've only got 30 orders sitting there. So somebody's sitting there with 30 orders, 35 orders. And it's coming in. We've seen way more than 35 orders being sold at 76. Here you go, 76 any second now. 15, 20, there you go, maybe that's 35 there. And then sold. So they could be sitting at the levels below and above as well. So it's usually one of two outcomes. one or two outcomes. Buyers absorb all the sellers and then it breaks through 76, or sellers absorb all the buyers and then the buyers run out of steam, exhaustion, and then it just sells off. So we look at absorption and exhaustion in the same area. And that's why we use order flow. We've got all these clues for like thin delta candles, that means lack of volume. We've got the order flow and the delta and the footprints. You can see where buyers and sellers are physically sitting in each candlestick. So back at 76 again. So we're selling there, we probably saw, let's pause it. Yeah, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100. So lots of buyers are up there. And then the sellers, the lack of sellers. So buyers have now absorbed all the selling pressure. And we're breaking out. Doesn't mean there's not going to be some sellers just sitting above those areas, just lapping up any liquidity that breaks through. Nasdaq's looking stronger again now. Let's go back to the low. Was there a buying delta flip? No, the only one we had was, we did have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Button, that area there. We had our left shoulder, a delta flip, our head, our right shoulder, a break and a retest. Or you could have used that break and a retest if you wanted some daylight. 75.92. Sorry, 75.92. That would have been over the mid all points, and maybe a bit late. There we go. We see it on the 5 minute there. That's the pattern there. So coming into the orb high now. Nasdaq's just tapped the VWAP. ES has now broken through VWAP. So look at us, we are literally holding the ORB range at the moment. And as we're now at the high of the opening range, let's see, 76.04. How many buyers sitting up there? No, not many. Lack of sellers, buyers are up there as well. Big aggressive buying candle on the breakout there. Quite a few buyers sitting at the high. I think starting moment, negative deltas at the top here. Buyers are coming in. A small, very light delta candle, previous candle as well. So what's going on now? We've got lack of buying interest at the high here. But here we go. I've got a new clock I've just installed. It's better. It's just downloading. ORB. We could see a potential breakout here. It's also a little RBI as well. You know, we had massive positive delta there and no follow through. Here he goes, it's the breakout. Watch volume, we've got 20 seconds left. So it wasn't on increased volume, by the way. So no official breakout for me. If that was increased volume, I would have taken it. But we could watch for the break and retest, which is happening right now. It's over 76, over the VWAP. Although Nasdaq's coming into the VWAP, makes it a bit trickier. Looking at Delta. Salaries on the Delta. Not sure. It could be just a liquidity sweep. People being caught in. Right. But this is a break and retest right now. I prefer to see daylight, to be honest. Look at that. So no breakout. Sorry, I just trying to set up my desktop clock. I got a new clock. Here we go. That's what I'm trying to do. Big bottom tail candle. Reducing volume on the breakout as well. Nasdaq selling right now. Right, I've done it. This is what I was trying to do. I've got a clock, like you see on my screen. I put it in my taskbar on my other monitor, just down there, so I can see time's happening. I was just playing around with the settings, lots of settings to set that clock up. Found it on GitHub. It's open source. Not quite the same as what I used to have. So I'll have a play of that later. Right, so back to the charts. Delta's holding up, which is good. This is the break and retest of orb right now. If we can get volume, we've got some liquidity above as well. See those, look at those red lines above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10, 15, 28, 39 and 44. Got loads of places above, so maybe we might see it push up. We've got a load of liquidity below as well, so there's no reason why it won't come back down to pre-market low. Opening range low. We do have pre-market high above as well, makes it a trickier long if we are looking for a long, but we are in an inside day, so we are scalping only. Got relative strength on ES. The last 15 minutes is a green candle on NASDAQ. I'm sorry, a red candle on NASDAQ, green on ES. Not looking good for volume though. So I'm probably not going to be trading anymore. I might watch later. There's no divergences. The ORB doesn't look like it wants to break out. We're sitting in this horrible little range here. Reducing volume. Maybe we might see a breakout over 76, but there's no valid ORB breakout. So I may just call it a day. Let me just close that window. Craig said I stayed on another 20 minutes. Still no good volume for me, so no trade at all. No. Craig, I did read your trade journal last night. It was good. It lacked the emotions though. Your emotions are getting in and out and during the trade. So maybe you can add a couple more columns with some drop downs or something, so you can select it. We have to think about it. Add in it, for example. Let me open up my trade Zeller. I'm building my own trading journal at the moment, actually. Okay, yeah, no problems. I'll show you the emotions. You might want to screenshot this because it's quite good. I'll go to my settings. And I'll show you. I'll go to one of my trades. Should be settings somewhere. Where are they? They've moved things around. A bit out of date on my. I need to upload a few more. Is that it? No. Resources, trade, notebook, trade view. Not sure what this is. They've added a load of new settings. Oh shoot, it used to be down here, settings. What's it up here? Here we go, settings. And then there were tags management. That's what I'm looking for. So these are my tags I use. Basically, confidence level. Let's go into tags. So maybe you want to screenshot this. These are I need to go through a lot of these. These are old, these tags. There's loads of tags. Hang on, let me just see if I've got a better. Okay, I'll go to one of my trades from a couple of days ago. Go to trade details and then just make sure I've not got any personal notes in there. Don't think so. Here you go. So here's one of my trades from a few days ago. This is, I did this live. Long, short, and then out. And then here. So my setups got set to a scalp and using my footprint, market type ranging, inside day, confidence level medium, time frame was on a 5-minute. I also trade 15-minute as well. Trading, and let me just quickly have a look, see whether we had a valid breakout. No, that's fine. So nothing really to trade at the moment. And then time frame 5-minute, and technical mistakes. I'll just show you what I've got on each one. So my setups are just your setups, you know, demand, supply, break and retest, pre-market high, pre-market low, etc. And then I've got my confidence level set to high, medium, low, just so I know how I'm feeling that day. Trending, inside day range, market types. I know what type of market type it is. But what I really want to get down to, I do back testing as well. So I add that in. So it's good to do that. Had I not got out, what would have it hit maximum R? You know, that would have probably hit about, not sure, 2 or 3 R. And then down here, emotions. This is from Jared Tendler's book. A game, calm, confident, patient, precise, trusting gut, relaxed, walked away. That's what you want to see more. You want to see plenty of A game emotions. And then I've not filled these in, to be fair. I usually do. I was probably doing other things. I've built my own trading journal, actually. I was probably testing out on there. B game, emotions, B game, attention on wrong market, FOMO, going against gut, losing focus, missed my playbook setup, not confident, overthinking, reacting slower, took profits early, watched P&L. And then the C game, you don't want any of these, but it does creep in. Distracted, forcing trades, greedy, hesitant, negative self-talk. And I know, Craig, you had a few C trade negative self-talks last week. Over trading, revenge trading, risk averse, self-doubt, stress, trading P&L. And then that's the emotions. That's how you can track your emotions, and you can link it to trades, market conditions. So for example, if you're stressed and emotional and it's another inside day, you might be able to link the two together and maybe say, right, I'm not trading inside days. That's why we journal, so we can work out trends. And then you got your trading A, B, C game. So the A game was add to a winning trade. This is stuff you should be doing. Exit correctly, cut losers fast, clear understanding on the markets, respecting my risk, let price come to me, focus on 1 to 2 trades at a time. And for example, let price come to me. That's like today when I said I'm waiting for a pullback or a green candle to go long, to go short. So I wait for a pullback to I want to get in. I don't want to be chasing it. Respecting my game plan, which I've done, 2 trades, I'm done. Respecting my rules, respecting my stop losses, targets, seeing trap traders, setups for playbook only from my playbook. And then the B game. So you can probably rewind this video and then take these screenshots, but these are the emotions you want to add in as drop downs. My B game is cut trades too soon, held too long, no good read on volatility, not aware enough to sit out or pick my spots, over managed to trade, platform issues, which you can't do much about, but they happen, scalping for a few ticks, too much attention to depth. And then the C games, you don't want any of these. Add into a losing trade. You know, if anybody's nodding their head right now, then you know we've all been there. I have lots of C game trades as well a lot of the time. Add into a losing trade, anticipated entry I talked about last week. Remember that's what I was doing. Chase price, did not recognize sideways action, didn't follow stop loss rules, fade in directional moves, so just jumping in. Impulsive trading, that's jumping in really. Not aware of bigger picture, that's why we always go through time frames every day. Oh, let's get rid of that. Not part of my plan or playbook. Oversized, scaling without a plan or price going against me. And I've already talked about my scaling plan on my Apex. Remember I said here I start off with 2 contracts, and then I've got 3, 4, and 5 contracts as I scale it. That's my plan. And yeah, and so forth. What else was there down below? C game. And undersized, so not getting in on the correct size because you're just not confident enough. So that's how I track my emotions, and I think that's a good thing to do. So this is TradeZella. I'm not sure how much it is actually, because it just comes out every year. I pay annually. It's not massive amounts, but you do get a 20% discount, I believe, if you use my referral code. It's in the description. I'm pretty sure it's 20%. Because I remember just updating it. Yeah, 20% off TradeZella if you use my referral code. So I would use that. I get a little bit of a kickback. and also everyone benefits. So that's TradeZella, but I am building my own one as well. Very basic version. It's better than a spreadsheet, not quite as good as TradeZella, but it'll be simple, and I want to be able to put into it footprint charts. That's why I'm building my own, and screenshots. So I want to be able to screenshot cumulative delta divergence, my screen basically, which you don't really get that. And I want AI to analyze my screen as part of my trade. That's why I'm building my own one. So, but I want to add footprints into it as well, so I can actually see the candlestick, the footprint, cumulative delta divergence, so that I've got all that information available. But that's what I'd use. TradeZella is the best, and they're pretty decent. There's a few other good ones out there as well, and it's really good for tracking everything. So you can then go back to a trade where you went off the wire a little bit, and then you can go and then compare that to a trade where you didn't go off the wire, and you can say, well, that's the difference. On that day, there was a big FOMC announcement, and I got stuck up in all the hype or something like that, or whatever. So very good. Again, I need to be better at analysing my trades better afterwards as well, and journaling. I do journal. I normally write it down in my Discord, or write it down on my trade database. I don't always put all my emotions down, as you see. Remember, it's not about removing emotions, it's about controlling your emotions. You know. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day, I think. There's no breakout trade here. The ORB candle was lower volume, so there wasn't a valid entry. Maybe we could have taken a break and retest of 76. It came in. Hopefully somebody took that. Let's just analyze it. I was just setting up my clock. The break and retest of 76. We held it, and then we finally broke it. We came back in, and there was a buying delta flip. So we could have just go back and just look at the footprints. So we broke it. We came back, massive aggressive selling, and then we had a delta flip. Buying imbalances, small buying delta, so maybe that was the click key. The break over 76.06. If we went long there, our stop would have been where we would have gone long. We wouldn't have gone long until we triggered in up here. Our stop would have been here. We would have been a bit of a stop out, so probably wouldn't have been a good trade unless you had a wider stop. The wider stop would have been on my 250. My stop would have been there, 75.99. Entry, we wouldn't have even been at 1 hour, and we've been sitting in it for 15 minutes already. So it doesn't feel like a very good market right now, which is why I'm going to leave. I've just integrated my 2 baby chickens into the main coop. In fact, I've removed all of the I went on Facebook Marketplace, and somebody's given away a big dog pen, so I've removed all the barriers. So I need to go check on them and make sure they haven't been pecked to death by the other chickens. They're quite territorial and eating all their food and bullied them. So I'm going to go, but I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM. You're welcome, Sonny, and you're welcome, Mo. Thank you for everyone for watching. Don't forget, if you haven't hit the like button, really appreciate that. And I'm going to get back on soon, creating some videos as well, you know, some strategy videos. I've not done any for ages, so I want to try and get back into the habit of that, just being really busy that time of year. So when I'm not trading, it's a good opportunity to do some strategy videos, especially if I can start doing videos to go with my orb book as well. And if you haven't got the orb book yet, it's available on Kindle. I've had loads of sales on Kindle, so I appreciate if that's anybody's bought it. I do appreciate that. Obviously it's through Amazon, so they take a big cut of the profit, so I don't get a massive amount. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM, so appreciate everyone. Have a good day and trade safe. A+ setups only today. Okay, thanks for watching.